It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Now, we live in the most amazing world with new technology emerging to blow our mind every single day. But we also love looking back through millennia at those celestial happenings that blow our minds. And we've got one coming up this Sunday. It's a blood moon. And Zoe's got the latest.
Thanks, G-Man. You know what? It's always so great to be out of studio, and I'm in for a treat. I'm on a fact-finding mission because this coming Sunday evening, leading into the early hours of Monday morning, if you look outside, you will see a spectacular reddish moon, and this is amazing. It is the first time in years that this is happening, and you don't need any binoculars or telescope. You just need clear skies and your eyes. I am sitting here with Matipa, who is the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome Manager. We are live in Cape Town at the Iziko Planetarium, and this is a big weekend happening when it comes to the sighting of the blood moon. Matipa, tell me, what is it about this moon that is so spectacular, and how often does it happen?
Good morning, and thanks for having me, Zoe. Okay, so what we'll be experiencing in Cape Town particular this coming Monday morning in the very, very early hours is a blood moon. But this is also happening in other areas across the world, right? So in essence, what happens when we have a blood moon is that we're looking at a total lunar eclipse. And with a total lunar eclipse, what that means is that we have the sun, the earth, and the moon in perfect alignment. This really happens, or it happens less often than would be, because for this configuration to actually happen requires quite a number of conditions to happen. First of all, we need the moon to be at its fullest, so we need to have a full moon, and thereafter then the moon needs to be in the shadow area of the earth. So when the earth is facing the sun, directly behind it there will be a shadow, right, that on the part that is facing away from the sun. And when the moon is in that particular shadow, that's when we are able to have the total lunar eclipse. And this one is particularly, like you mentioned, quite a special one because it's called a blood moon, which gives it a reddish color to the moon. So instead of just seeing a well-lit blue moon, we will then have a reddish color to the moon.
What causes that reddish color? Is it just the sun having an impact on it, or is there, how do you explain the red color? Because it's quite ominous, that color.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. So as I mentioned, because the moon in this particular event is in the shadow of the earth, right? In essence, what that means is that the light that comes from the sun is completely blocked away from the moon by the earth. So usually the light that we see from the moon is not light that comes from the moon itself, but it's light that's been reflected from the sun onto the moon. And so with the earth standing in that space, we are in essence not getting any light from the moon, right? But then because light from the sun comes in different spectrums, right? Like it's got a lot of different colors and at different wavelengths. A lot of the blue light is then scattered out by our Earth's atmosphere, and then the red light is what actually gets bent by the atmosphere towards the moon, and that's why we see this reddish color. So in essence, without the Earth's atmosphere, we wouldn't even be able to see the moon during this event. Like, it would be completely dark because it's in the shadows of the Earth.
Yeah.
But because of that atmosphere, we're able to see much of the red light that's actually being bent towards the moon.
So are you basically saying we must all set our reminders, make sure we do not miss out on Sunday evening, early hours of Monday? Now, when would you say is the best time to really experience this blood moon at the best time and at its fullest?
First of all, we definitely have to have a disclaimer that the weather has to be on our side. So we're really, really hoping that the weather will be on our side because, like I mentioned, the reddish color comes from the light in the atmosphere. So if there's too much cloud and the weather is overcast, then we're unlikely to see the event. But with clear skies, then we will be able to see the event. On Monday morning particularly, we should be able to see it at its fullest, before 6 or just after 6. Like it'll really depend, but a few minutes before 6 and a few minutes after 6. The whole lunar eclipse will take about 4 hours, so it'll start somewhere between 3:30 a.m. and then kind of end just before 8 in the morning. So for the early risers, they'll definitely get a chance to see the moon.
Okay, so now this is where we keep our fingers crossed and hope for clear skies so that we can see it with our own eyes. Matipa, how does the Iziko Planetarium amplify these astronomical events and occurrences for their patrons that comes?
Well, that's quite an interesting question. Thank you, Zoe. So we have what we call the Sky Tonight segment that happens at the end of every single show that you'll get to see at the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome. And in this segment, we give to the audiences and our visitors an opportunity to really have a look at the night sky. We actually have something where we do a time lapse into the evening and we go through constellations, moons, and particularly events like this that you can see up in the night sky.
Oh, well, Matipa is not going anywhere. We are coming to you live from the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome in Cape Town. We have more questions and things to unpack because a little bit later in this month is International Museum Day and we have lots to still share with you. So we'll be right back.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Monday, to be exact, the blood moon phenomenon is taking place this Monday, so watch out for all of that.
And now there's somebody crossing over from the planetarium to find out a bit more about this red moon. It's somebody whose smile brings sunshine and moonshine. Here's Zoe.
Thank you, Wasty. Well, look at this gorgeous moon, of course, leading up to the blood moon that will be on full display come Sunday or Monday, depending on the weather. I'm live at the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome, and I'm here with Mapita as we continue our conversation around International Museum Day that's coming up next week, Wednesday, the 18th of May. And that means many of the museums will be offering free entrance and really cool shows. But what will the planetarium be doing?
Okay, so at the planetarium, we will have 3 shows being aired. Usually we just have one public show, but for special occasions such as International Museum Day, we're definitely going to give some of our visitors and the residents of Cape Town a spectacular 3 shows that afternoon. We'll have a show at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. So that's back-to-back shows, all half price at the museum. The first show at 1 o'clock will be Taiko to the Moon. This is a show that's a little bit more appropriate for younger audiences. And I mean, how befitting also after the blood moon that we'll have a show about the moon, right?
Yes, and I mean, we are in the planetarium right now, and this is incredible. So growing up, we used to come here for school tours, and that was quite a while ago. There's a lot of changes that has happened. Talk me through the upgrades that have taken place.
Absolutely. So that's a wonderful question, Zoe, because in 2017, the planetarium actually became the Planetarium and Digital Dome, right? So what that basically means is that we have had a major upgrade in terms of technology, making us the best planetarium on the African continent with the most pristine technology up to grade at the moment. And we offer immersive experiences of planetariums on the continent. So anybody can come to the planetarium and absolutely enjoy wonderful immersive shows.
So we currently have the moon on behind us, but everything changes. Earlier there was a little bit of pink, the skies change. So can we see some of that currently take place? Look at that beautiful constellation. Is that the Milky Way?
Yes, so that is the Milky Way.
I need to come back.
The galaxy that we're part of. Unfortunately, we aren't able to always see it in the night sky because of all the light pollution that comes from our cities. But if you move away from the city into like much rural and darker areas with less light towards the sky, you'll be able to see wonderful, spectacular views of the Milky Way, as well as a whole lot more stars in the sky.
So what does the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome offer differently than going to the cinema?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, our upgrade literally meant that we can offer immersive spaces. So the seats that we have right here, they, if I can demonstrate, recline all the way to the back, right? Giving viewers an experience of absolutely feeling like they're in the sky, in the universe, and absolutely just enjoying the shows that we have. It brings the viewer into that space, and that's what we offer here at the Planetarium.
That is amazing. Has anyone ever proposed here? I mean, this is quite a romantic setting.
Absolutely. So we have quite a few of those actually happen. So more often than you would think, definitely more often than we have the blood moon as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What's your favorite show?
I'll be biased just because of the moon and trying to get everybody come into the Planetarium. I'd definitely say Taiko to the moon. So for all the young ones, please bring them through to the Planetarium so they can have a look at one of our shows.
Oh, this is absolutely incredible. I just want to be here. I definitely need to come back because the memories I have of the Planetarium was when I was in primary school. And this is definitely something for the whole family, for kids and adults alike. And I see we still have some extra time. So what am I seeing right now? Because it just looks like I'm in a fantasy.
Absolutely. Okay, so on the dome, what you're seeing right now is a part of a nebula, right? So nebulas are basically these regions in space where new stars are being formed and born, and we're like almost as if you are right in the middle of it, having an experience of all of these new stars being born. We also have these regions where you have kind of looking like dust and clouds, and that's really like where the youngest stars are being born.
That is unbelievable. And when it came to the digital upgrades, I believe it was quite a collaborative effort to raise all the funds. How has the community been involved to ensure that there was the digital dome?
Absolutely. So we are very, very appreciative of the partnerships that were and have been established because of the digital upgrade. This is between the Department of Science and Innovation as well as the university in Cape Town, which is the University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch University, as well as CPUT. So all of these universities have also formed what we call a research consortium. And the wonderful splendor about the Planetarium at Iziko is that it hosts both research and public shows, which is a wonderful splendor because you don't get a lot of that happening at a lot of planetariums where you actually not only play shows, but we're actually involved in research being done along astronomy.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Mapita, thank you so much for having us today. And if you want to come and experience the Iziko Planetarium and Digital Dome, do come. Also remember the 18th of May is International Museum Day. So the museum will offer some great exhibitions, free entrance, and at the Planetarium they'll have some great shows at a special price. So you do not want to miss out. You can get more details at www.iziko.org.za and make sure you check it out so that you do not miss out on this. I think this is where we can now sit back and relax and just enjoy the show. Yeah.
Absolutely.